Folks, Dave Fryan here from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with my co-host today, Ryan Fryan.
And also brother. Yeah, there's that.
There's that. I know some of you are thinking maybe he's my son, but no, he's my brother. Now, we came together to do this video for a very specific reason.
And what reason's that?
Geek Fest, baby, Geek Fest. We went to the first
2014 Holla,
annual Geek Fest for Southern New Jersey, and so we figured we would take a little time to talk about that, share with you guys what transpired over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, for their inaugural event, it was pretty sick. What were some of the stats that came out as far as that goes?
Okay, I'll be honest with you. When we first got there, we walked the whole circuit in like 5 minutes, and I was kind of thinking lame.
A little underwhelmed at first, yeah.
But I guess it really started to come alive for me when I started interacting with some of the vendors, because they had a lot of indie game vendors that either are just getting started in the industry or technically haven't even started. They were there with their prototype games. And we got there pretty early, like when the doors first opened. Yeah. So there wasn't many people there. There wasn't many people there in costume or any. And as the day proceeded on, I mean, we were there for less than 2 hours, I would say, when the place really started packing. I guess the tipping point for me was the Stormtrooper.
Oh, the Stormtrooper was badass, people. Like
playing Jenga. Yeah. Giant Jenga.
There was oversized Jenga logs or whatever, so you might see that on our Instagram if you go check us out on find us at Nerdarchy on Instagram. Giant Jenga pieces, and he's dressed in a Stormtrooper scout outfit. So it's the white with like they have there's almost like a bit of a loincloth, I think, thing going on there.
Well, come on, you guys, you've watched Star Trek, Return of the Jedi.
Star Wars, dude. The Star Wars people and the Trekkie people are gonna come hunt you down for that one.
But anyway, the guys that rode the speeder bikes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those are the ones.
So that's when it really started coming alive. But not only that, like I said, we started interacting with some of the indie game developers and playing their games.
Yeah, and you know what? Talking to them, they were cool people. Because, like, just cycling around the show wasn't nearly as cool as, like, getting to know some of these people and seeing some of the cool concepts they've come up with. Like, one of my favorites was this guy, Anthony Yamato, shout out. He's from Philly, actually, West Philly, so he's a local guy. He developed this game called Kobolds Are Coming is, like, the subtext. And it's just super fun. Like, it's got some randomness going on. You're kind of like an adventuring party that's killing them, trying to keep them from invading the town. He's got some very unique mechanics in it, that I haven't seen in a lot of different games. Kind of remind me of, I can't remember the exact name of this game, like Defenders of the Realm, where basically you're systematically taking out these evil champions, but the game gets more and more intense as it goes on. It was almost like a simpler micro version of that, but still super fun, and fast paced.
I didn't actually get a chance to play it. I just got a chance to take a look at it, and it was a tile-based game, which I like those types of games. Yeah. Because one, there's lots of room for expansion. There's lots of variations you can do.
Right. You get more bang for your buck because this is a game that you can pull down with expansions. You can pull this game down from your shelf more often. Like at least once a month, and it's still fun in a different game every time you go to play it. So yeah, that's really cool.
So there was well, first of all, you're trying to stop kobolds from taking over the town.
Right. Well, yeah, from invading the town, and basically if what is it? If there's like a despair meter that runs down for the town, and once that drops to 0, the town's overrun by kobolds. So you don't want that to happen. By the end of the game, it was a little hairy. Like, we had one they come out of like mine shafts basically, and you have to blow up the mine shafts. So you're getting dynamite from the town.
Whoa, we got explosives and kobolds?
We got, if only we could merge them and get explosive kobolds.
Oh, man.
That's expansions. All right, Anthony, if you're listening.
Explosive kobolds.
Explosive kobolds. That's
the
thing.
I was just kind of like, I was playing another game and kind of just watching what they're doing. And after I finished up my game, watching the game, and I saw things like, there was the martial artist and the bulwark, and the necromancer.
Yeah, so you have all these different sort of party roles, and he might expand it to be more, and it's cool. Like, so your character could die, and sometimes it's a wise play to kind of run a sacrifice move. But yeah, so if your character dies, you just grab a new one from the stack and start over. So this way, if your character dies, you're not truly out of the game. It's kind of nice, like to not get ousted right.
Rumor has it there was a fatality during the game.
There was, and it was your son.
Oh,
Sorry to tell you. You do have another child though, so
all right. Well, there's that.
Yeah.
So while he was playing that, I was hanging out with Nicole, Anthony's girlfriend, and co-creator of these games. Below there will be links to their fan pages for the individual games. Check them out. I recommend them. A lot of fun. I was playing Resistor, and it's a head-to-head game, 2-player, and the concept is you're a supercomputer that controls all the nukes to your country.
Nice.
And you're trying to infect the other the other supercomputer, because once you do, you blow up their nukes and them. So it's very interesting. It's turn-based, where you have 3 actions you have to take every turn. And there's cards that denote these actions. So once you take an action, you flip it, right? And there's red and blue. So once you flip I was red, she was blue. I would flip from red to blue, so we knew that I took that action until you complete them. Well, you have 5 cards between you and the other person. And you have a couple cards in your hands. They're double-sided. I can see one side of the cards. She can see one side of the cards. And then you can see the side in your hand. So you're looking at the side aside from their hand and the side from your hand, and basically, you're taking moves from their hand, your hand, and a deck. And then you have all these cards between you and the other person where you're taking the actions on. And what you're trying to do is match up basically lines of attack from one computer to the other without there being also a line of attack to you, because sometimes you'll take a move and you can actually attack them, but you've also set up the return a path attack as well.
Right.
So it's kind of random. It's a lot of fun. We went back and forth. I eventually kicked her butt in her own game.
Nice.
But I enjoyed it, and it's not like a long drawn out game. And I kind of am drawn to those games where I can sit there and play it 4 or 5 times in an hour, and it's still fun.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about the games that it's not. It's not necessarily for me about the length of the game. It's about the time invested to the setup of the game, or the time invested to just learn the freaking rules to be able to play the game. You want a game that you're pretty much getting ready to roll with it, to play it within 15 minutes of it being out of the box. Not super complicated. I mean, there's a time and a place for an Arkham Horror, but Arkham Horror and all that Lovecraftian complex board game type of stuff, those games run so much better if you get a group of people that are familiar with it, or a Settlers of Catan or something like that.
But then you have other games like Ascension where it can be a longer game, but you learn it really quick.
Yeah.
And that's it's kind of what I favor, games that I can pick up quick, and just everyone knows how to play it, and we can play a game. Yeah, no matter how long it lasts.
Right. Or the thing of it, or if you put the new player at the end of the line if they've figured out the game by seeing everyone take their turns, then that's a good game. I think it's a good game design. Well, all right, I'm not going to say Arkham Horror is a bad game. I'm just going to say it's complex and it's hard for new people to pick up on.
Well, yeah, some games there's just a much, much bigger investment in getting going. But I digress because we got way off topic.
Yeah, well, I mean, RPGs, but they're most of them are so rules heavy. They would be the biggest culprit. It's like learning another language when you start to play, dude. When you started me on 2nd edition D&D, I didn't know my elbows from my knees starting those games. So but
and
still
no one
fun.
ever does.
Yeah, still fun once you figured it out. All right, so we're gonna get back to Geek Fest now.
Geek
I guess.
Fest. So, what would you say were the highlights for you at the event?
Well, I mean, really, it was just talking to the designers, the game designers. I felt with some on the vendor end of things, they could have had a little more diversity of what was going on there. But that's just kind of my take on it. A bit more. Like, it was either people selling T-shirts. For the most part, it was people selling T-shirts or comic books. Like, and that was kind of it. So it'd been nice to see a little bit more.
There were some other things thrown in there, I guess. I mean, you had the 8-bit DJ guy, right?
Yeah.
Which, it was interesting, but it was loud and obnoxious. I don't know if it was a
well, it would. You know what? It would suck. It would suck to be the person that had the booth next to him. So, all right, here's a little pro tip: if you're doing something with sound, right, and you're at a convention, for the love of all that is holy, put headphones out, and this way, people who want to sample your wares can do so. And you don't make it suck for all other attendees or your co-boothy people.
Well, you know, on the other end of that, there was like an improv troupe there, and they had like their stuff running at their booth, but because there was no headphones or anything, you couldn't hear it. Like I was intrigued, and I wanted to say, look, this might be funny.
What was the group called? Do you remember?
It was like Cinevore, and they do
right,
Nerd versus Geek
on
YouTube. You guys should check it out. But
which I have to do.
Well, I haven't checked it out either. But I wanted to while I was there, but I couldn't hear it. And like if they would have had at their station some headphones set up, people cruising by could like pop on the headphones and go, and they could listen or whatever.
So I guess it brings up another thing that we had talked about that I had thought was lacking, like. If you're gonna have performances or whatever, well, actually, if you're running a convention, like you should have a breakout space for people to do things and have like a schedule, maybe X times per day or whatever. The improv group does a performance, then they're mic'd and whatever, and people can go check that out in that area. But like to kind of do things, put things on that you wouldn't ordinarily see. You're not, because you want to make a convention, a bit of an experience. Like, yeah, you can get a bunch of your friends together and have a board game night like once a month. A convention should be something above and beyond that. So, maybe for years in the future, if they set up, like they had a stage, it just didn't really seem like it ever got utilized. Maybe things happen later at night.
No, I did see them doing the raffle over there. Yeah, but it didn't seem like they had enough sound system to really carry it and draw people in. I mean, they had a guy with a bullhorn, and now you know what? Let's back up a little bit here. All that being said, this is their first event, from my understanding.
Yeah, they rocked it for sure.
And they got like, I think they posted. They said they had 650 people attend, which was really good. And I would say, what was there, between like 40 and 50 vendors?
I wouldn't dispute that number. For an inaugural event, like you can see that like the interest in geeky nerdy things is strong, and it's South Jersey. Like it's not the most metropolitan of areas, but they got people coming in from Philly, and like. So I'm not sure.
New York too. New York. Yeah. I was talking to the one guy that had the booth next to Anthony's. He was from New York, and they actually, there was a couple comic book guys there. Then there were some kind of people just vending kind of like geeky nerdy stuff. There's a few different artists there.
Yeah.
And then then there was 4 or 5 indie game companies there, or startups. There was a couple video game reviewers there, and also game developers and designers. I know my son had taken a chance to played one of the apps. What was it? Monster Punch.
Yeah, Monster Punch. Yeah, he was talking about that earlier. Yeah.
And then the guy got him on video afterwards. Talking about so they did kind of run the gambit. There was some different things there. Yeah,
and there was some other people doing a kind of similar thing we're doing, like blogging and reporting on nerd culture type of stuff. So there was that presence there. So there was a bit of a diversity present. Yeah, for sure.
And actually, and those guys were really cool. We were talking to them. They had a couple cute girls there. Dressed up in cosplay that we were talking to.
Yeah, OneQuest. OneQuest was where the guys.
Yeah,
it seemed like nice
one-quest.com. You can find them on Facebook and on the internet. So maybe we'll put a link below as well to them. You guys can check them out. So all in all, it was a good experience. I had a lot of fun. And And if they do it again next year, I plan on going and checking it out.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm sure there's things that I'm going to kick myself for not remembering to talk about that I'll think of after the video, the virtual tape's not rolling anymore.
Well, you know what? I think one of my pet peeves was, and this had nothing to do with the people putting on Geek Fest, and this is actually a tip for anyone else who does a con. Invest in tablecloths, table drapery, and signage, because there's nothing worse than when I went up to a booth and I'm looking at it going, I don't know what you do.
Or what you want me to do type of thing. Yeah.
Have a clear, concise message. And, if you're selling something, when I walk up, let me know without me having to talk to you that you're selling something. Have something there to grab me, because, and like there was certain tables that I was like,
what do you do?
Yeah, and I'm looking, I'm like, you know what? This looks like a game thing here, but here's half naked anime chicks over here in comic book form or in trade paperback form. I don't understand. Are you guys sharing a space, or is this a game company and this is a comic book company? I didn't really know.
Yeah. I don't know. So there was that. Even like if you're prototyping a game, which there was a lot of people running some prototypes, like, just to have a sign that like try such and such a game, and like a little thing you would get at Staples, a little plastic standy thing with like a nice printed out sheet that explains what goes on, what's going on.
A perfect example is Nicole and Anthony.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't have like a lot of signage or anything like that, what they did have was the little standee for the Kobolds game and for the Resistor game with the QRC code on them, so that would take you right to their Facebook pages. So, I mean, like, well, at least when I walked up to that table, right away I understood what it was about.
Yeah, and, with them, like, I could say that, like, one person was running one game, one was running another, so they were kind of, it wasn't haphazard or anything like that. Like, you had somebody to explain it right then and there for you in real time, which was, it was nice. Because if you're if you were doing multifaceted things, you're not going to have enough people to explain the ins and outs of whatever's going on.
You know what? I was just thinking about one of the tables that frustrated me. I'm not going to mention it because I'm not here to put anybody down. They're doing their thing, and that's awesome. But one of the people that you were talking to were over there having the game explained to them, and that was the only reason I knew that it was a game company.
Yeah.
/ something else was going on there. And he was wearing the apron, and I think his name was Sam, but I could be wrong. The cupcakes.
Oh, the cupcake.
Well, he Instagrammed the cupcakes.
Yeah, the cupcake, it was really cool. Like they're really new. But what was the thing about that?
Oh, I don't know. You talked to them.
Yeah.
I didn't check it out as well. I just thought maybe you'd like to tell people what you saw, and I know you put up the Instagram.
Yeah. I mean, it's they're still figuring out their model, but I mean, it's a really neat idea to make sort of like nerdy baked goods. Basically, they were called Wee cupcakes with 6 E's. So they just they've been going to local events like Geek Fest, and just selling their varieties of cupcakes at the event, and so it's kind of like a young, I wouldn't say mom and pop sort of operation, but that's kind of what it is, like literally out of their home kitchen, making cupcakes. So.
But what's interesting about that, like that stands out in the sea of everything else that was there.
Well, because it was so colorful, they were well designed. Yeah, exactly.
Food always does well, but no one else was doing anything like it.
Yeah,
that's true. So it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would love to see them. So they're on Facebook as well with 6 E's cupcakes. And if you run a comic book shop or something, a gaming shop, maybe hit them up. Maybe you guys can work some sort of business arrangement out or something like that. Because I would, if somebody doing something cool, I'd love to see them, thrive and do well. So,
and we're not going to go on and on about this. I mean, we spent, I would say, 3-4 hours there. It was a very small venue, yet they made it work. They had tables for games. Guys were demoing games. I almost got beat up, to be honest with you.
How was that?
Well, you guys can see that. there's this game called Bear vs. Gorilla vs. CEO vs. Hippie. Well, and that's put out by Black Slither Games. And so we were checking it out, and we're talking to the guys over there, and they seemed really cool. They had that and one other game. I don't quite remember the other game off the top of my head. It's kind of a drinking card game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Kind of modeled off of...
It was almost like a rock, paper, scissors mechanic, but,
with cards.
Yeah, some blue humor going on, but it was cool. It was fun. Yeah.
So, I checked out the game. We demoed it, talked to them, and we're just talking to them. So, asking them what else they do other than when they're not doing the nerdy stuff. And he's like, I'm an MMA fighter. Well, the guy is kind of built like
me, basically.
Like Ryan here, and I kind of chuckle.
Well, especially, all right, me, if I didn't have a bit of a beer gut going on, so, probably all of 140 pounds or
a
something.
Skinny guy that's like 5'7".
Yeah, exactly.
And so I kind of chuckle a little bit. And he goes, no, really? I'm like, oh, man. And so we got talking. It was really cool. So, yeah, he's actually an amateur MMA fighter.
Apparently he's doing something in AC before too long, whatever the latest event of that is.
Yeah, I forget the name of the organization, or I would plug it here.
Yeah. Hey, well, maybe that's something we find and put a link down to if you want to see this game designer / MMA fighter pounding somebody, make somebody tap out, and we're not talking about magic cards, baby. Yeah.
But so that was interesting. Black Slither Games is another one to check out. Actually, I just played it tonight for the first time.
Well, since it been demoed,
we demoed it. We didn't play a full game at the event. And I got together with my son and my brother-in-law, and then we played an actual full game of it. It's pretty fun, so definitely check it out. And I don't know if there's anything else.
Dude, Pixel Lincoln, right?
Oh, yeah. Pixel Lincoln.
Yeah. That, I mean, I can't remember the guy's name. Shoot, that sucks. I can't remember him. My apologies, but it's a really cool game, kind of modeled. I mean, the pixel thing is kind of big nowadays, like emulating 8-bit graphics, old school Nintendo stuff. But Pixel Lincoln, the way it works is it's modeled after doing a side scroller video game. So you scroll to the right and you have it's a deck building game. And you have basic maneuvers like you're playing a pixelated Abraham Lincoln, and there's little pieces.
No, wait a minute. What was his weapon again?
A beardarang.
A beardarang. He throws his beard.
Yeah, which you can use to attack non-adjacent foes. So, and the cool thing is, so almost like the little standy guys from Settlers of Catan, like the little wooden block guys.
Are the meeples?
The meeples.
Are they called meeples?
Well, that's Settlers of Catan. But anyway, so to represent your character, there's a little wooden cutout that does have the resemblance of the silhouette of a pixelated Abraham Lincoln. Yeah. So everything carries the sort of idea of the game through. Like even the little thing you have to represent because they're different colored ones to represent the different players. I believe it goes up to 5 players in the game.
There's one expansion now?
There is an expansion. He's got another 5 in the works, so it's cool because it's another game that if you really like it, you can keep building on it. But yeah, so there's all kinds of ridiculous foes that are shout outs to people from from the game designer community or even people from TV. Like I can't remember the actor's name, but he was on Mad Men. The kind of he played Harry. He's kind of he's kind of a chubby dude, but apparently he's a gamer too. And the guy insisted that he made a version of him in the game. So the game designer goes ahead and does that. So it's pretty awesome.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And I think it's him in his underwear.
Oh my god.
So yeah, it's pretty badass. So there's a side scroller and there's different moves like jump and things like that, and you're building a deck to have more and more powerful attacks as you go along. And so you go to the right and then you go down another level. And apparently the expansions add some more mechanics to the game. So you have things like environment, but everything sort of harkens back to that, old school NES feel, old school Nintendo. So yeah, it looks really fun. Ted bought it, so hopefully we can get a chance to play that one night.
I imagine soon that's going to happen.
Yeah. And actually the guy, the gentleman who I can't remember his name, is local. So maybe
I think it's Jason Tagmeyer.
I think the last name is right. I don't know about the first. Maybe Brian. Maybe he's a Brian.
Maybe.
All right, it could be a Brian. All right, Mr. Tagmeyer, we apologize, but hopefully
we have an excuse. We're idiots.
Yeah. So, But he's local, so hey, maybe we can get a game of Pixel Lincoln with him, and we can talk about some more there. That would be really cool.
I don't know about you, but going to a local event actually kind of inspired me. I actually want to do one now.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? What do you guys think? Nerdarchy Palooza?
NerdyCon?
Do it.
Yeah.
I can rock that thing.
Nerdapalooza? I don't know. Just spitballing here. It could
happen.
Could
but
happen.
Anyway, I think, we pretty much covered it. They did a great job. I can't wait to see what they do next year. Nerdarchy will be there. And, hey, maybe we'll be throwing our own event within the next year or two.
Who knows? Stranger things could happen.
So,
yeah.
Dave out.
Well, first, we have to say a little something. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, or subscribe to our channel. That would be awesome. We have a website, nerdarchy.com. We're on the Facebooks at Nerdarchy. You can find us there. And that's all I have to say for our plugs. And until next time, nerd out.
That's it. That's why we keep him around. He's the brains of the operation.
Or something like that.
Or something.
All right.
Until next time.
Peace out.